Healthy habits are great, but they can be incredibly expensive. However, you can live a really healthy lifestyle without really spending anything. So here are the 12 healthy habits that will change your life without breaking the bank. I feel like I kind of have to start with this one. This is the year of fiber maxing, haven't you heard? Apparently, after the whole internet was obsessed with protein for a couple of years, now people are finally starting to realize that you also need fiber in your routine, and fiber is becoming the new protein. I have to say, back when I was studying nutritional science, this was a topic we generally discussed. All my professors were like, yeah, fiber is super important, and every single time I would say that around other people, I would get side eye. But I'm really glad that the trend is shifting towards gut health now, because gut health is so important. A lack of fiber in your diet can not only cause you to have like belly aches, but also cause a lot of health issues in the long term. And the way to combat this is to just add fiber to all of your meals. This is really not hard to do. Fiber is, for instance, found in seeds like sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, linen seeds. Also in legumes like beans, chickpeas, edamame. It is really not hard to add something from each category to every single one of your meals. For instance, if you're having overnight oats for breakfast, sprinkle in some chia seeds or some linen seeds. If you tend to have toast, just switch to whole grain instead of plain. Adding fiber to all of your meals is really inexpensive, and it's one of the best things you can do for your health. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe for more content that will help you change your life. And if you want more advice delivered straight to your inbox, make sure to follow the newsletter through the link down below. Did you know that not brushing your teeth and not flossing has been linked to other types of health issues? And yeah, I know that people hate the dentist, but honestly, if you take care of your body and you want to look good and you want to be healthy, oral health also needs to be considered. Not taking care of your teeth and not brushing and flossing regularly, this means twice a day, is not only linked to bad breath and having cavities and having gum disease, but it can also impact your heart health, which is a crazy fact. It is definitely not difficult to do, and it's almost free. You need to see the sunlight as soon as you wake up. I know it can be easy to live like a vampire and just get up, grab a coffee, go to the bathroom, do your thing without even looking outside, maybe without even opening your blinds or your curtains. That is not good for your circadian rhythm. The circadian rhythm is like our body's internal clock. It covers a lot of rhythms, like for instance, when we get hungry, when we get tired, when we feel like, okay, now it's time to get up if we've been sleeping. And in order to feel our best throughout the day and also to be healthy generally, it is important that our circadian rhythm is functioning properly. And for this, it is necessary to see the sunlight as soon as you wake up. This will reset your circadian rhythm and just tell your brain, okay, now it is day, it is time to be awake. And this also leads to you actually feeling tired in the evening and being able to fall asleep better. And fun fact, if you live in a climate where it's really dark or you have a winter season like we do, you can actually just turn on lights. This does replicate to some extent the effect of the actual sun, but it's always better to really see the sun and the sky and all the light. I also have to say, this winter has been one of the darkest winters where I live. The sky was literally gray for days and weeks on end. Today is the first day where I can actually see like a blue sky, which is amazing. But I do have to say that this is one of the things you're usually not really aware of if you have good weather all of the time where you live. But it is crazy what an impact the existence of the sun and just of light has on your life and your general well-being. Why is parking so expensive? And why is public transportation getting worse and worse? You know what is free and is not complicated and is not too crowded? Walking. Now, obviously, this can only be done in walkable cities, but over here in Europe, I do think that the infrastructure is great for that. If you have the possibility to walk somewhere instead of driving, do that. It's so much more enjoyable than sitting in traffic, having people honking at you, having people fighting, or also being on public transportation with, oh my god, random story time today, this woman pushed me out of nowhere. Like, there was so much space. There was no reason for her to push me. And I was like, ow, like, what are you doing? And she just like walked past me. I think she was happy about what she did. You know, this is what I mean. With walking, you can kind of avoid just being stuck with a lot of random and maybe weird people in the same confined space, which is just great. And also you're getting your steps in. Obviously, this is extremely personal depending on like where you live and where you go to work or school and like what type of stuff you need to have with you throughout the day, like how many things you need to carry. If your walk to work, for instance, is only like 15 to 20 minutes, consider walking to work and then walking back home, and then you already have your steps. It's just a win-win situation. Also relating to this, take the stairs. It's such an easy change, and you know, it's just a substitute for the stepmaster and you get your steps in. Again, win-win-win. Is it normal to be like in your 20s and have back issues? I've been hearing about this from so many people, and I've also had times where I would sit the whole day because I was preparing for an exam or I was working a lot, and then I would feel like my back was hurting. And do you know why this is? Because if you're sitting in the same position for 8 hours a day, or sometimes even longer, and you're not really moving, of course your back hurts. Like, what do you expect? But you know what you can do against this? Stretching. Doing some mobility exercises. This is not a full-on workout. You just need to carve out like 10 minutes of your day, also while you're sitting. Do not sit in the same position for the entirety of the day. It is actually ideal, even though, I mean, my grandma would yell at me if I would have like one leg on my chair while eating, which like I know is manners, but actually it is healthier to, sometimes sit crisscross on the chair, sometimes put your legs down, have one leg up, then have the other leg out. Switch positions while you're just sitting there, because then at least you're not stuck in the same exact position for the whole day. Have an alarm to go to sleep, because it can be so difficult to actually get yourself to bed. We always wake up with really good intentions of going to sleep early. However, then it's suddenly like 12 p.m. and you still need to clean, you still need to shower, you still need to prepare your clothes for tomorrow. And so of course you're not going to be able to sleep early again. What I think is a great idea is to have an alarm that literally just tells you, okay, now is the time to start getting ready to go to bed. So for instance, if you want to be asleep by 11 p.m., consider having an alarm at 10 p.m. and then you can start getting ready, start brushing your teeth, showering, washing your dishes, doing whatever needs to get done, get to bed, and you still have the chance to actually fall asleep at 11 p.m. One daily connection. I've seen more and more articles talk about the loneliness epidemic, and yes, the general loneliness epidemic due to Corona, due to Gen Z being chronically online. And usually in this context, it is also mentioned that loneliness is extremely unhealthy. We are social beings. We quite literally used to run in packs because it used to be very dangerous for humans to be out alone. If whatever sort of ancient tiger attacked them, they would basically have no chance fighting against it unless they were in a group. And this behavior is still kind of ingrained in us, but it's hard nowadays to keep connections alive. We have such busy lives. And one of the things I love doing is to just try to make sure to connect with one person every day. I love doing after work drinks or dinner or just coffee even with friends, or even just calling a friend or a family member on your way back from home or from university, or while you're cooking or while you're cleaning. It doesn't take much time, it doesn't cost anything, but it's gonna give you so much. Interpersonal relationships are easy to ignore sometimes when life gets busy, but they're extremely important. And I would even argue that this is the most important thing you're ever gonna have. I genuinely believe that you can have 10,000 goals and reach all of them. However, if you're alone and you have no one to celebrate with and no one to share the good moments with, and even the bad moments with, it doesn't mean much. It doesn't make you happy. In Germany, there's this thing called Kaffee und Kuchen, where basically you just sit together with someone and you have a coffee and a cake. This is usually done in like the late afternoon, I would say, and I love this. It's so chill. Obviously, most times you cannot really do this throughout the week, but on the weekend, on a Sunday, that thing hits. And it just shows you that you don't really need a reason to hang out with someone or to catch up with someone. Drinking water, or even better, drinking electrolytes as soon as you wake up, because what do you mean you haven't been drinking anything for 8 hours? Also, it can be so hard to consistently drink enough water throughout the day, so this is a really good way that you can just front load and not stress that much about drinking water throughout the day. You should still do it, but at least this helps. Also, electrolytes help you actually hydrate your cells. Sometimes the water just doesn't diffuse through the cells, doesn't get inside of the cells. And electrolytes actually help transport the water particles inside of your cells. Have you heard of house burping? This is TikTok's latest sensation, and this has gotten all of the German people in a chokehold. There's this German habit of Stoßlüften, which basically means opening all of the windows, all of them, for about 5 minutes, even if it's winter, and you just get a bunch of air in. This also helps the air actually circulate. You leave all the doors open, all of the windows open, the air just circulates for 5 minutes. Afterwards, it might be freezing, but it always heats up because the walls, the furniture, everything that's in the house retain a lot of the warmth. So even in winter, you're not gonna feel it, but you're gonna feel the fresh air. Now people have discovered this on TikTok and are now calling it house burping, which is extremely funny to me, but regardless of what you call it, this is a good habit. Do you know that you need to breathe? Opening your window this much every second day is by far not enough. Please burp your house. You know what is better than any type of strict diet? Moderation. Who doesn't love moderation? You know, it can be really hard to track moderation or to define moderation, and there's this really good idea of eating on an 80-20 basis. This basically means you eat healthy for 80% of the time, and for 20% of the time, you don't eat healthy. You eat whatever you want. You grab some chicken wings, you eat a cake, you do whatever you want. I love this. I'm a big fan of eating a balanced diet. However, it is really hard to define balanced diet or to kind of like explain how to bring balance into your diet. Back when I did my nutritional science degree, a lot of people would ask me, how often do you have a cheat day? And my answer was always like, I don't have a cheat day. I eat very moderately. I eat very balanced, but I don't have a cheat day. And I think the closest I can get to explaining how I eat and what I think works best for me and might also work best for you is really just the 80-20 rule. Are you watching this before sleeping? Honestly, you can answer honestly. Leave a comment down below. You know what will help you sleep better? Not watching videos before sleeping. Every single screen emits blue light, and blue light stops us from feeling sleepy. And even if we do go to sleep afterwards, our sleep quality is gonna be worse if we see a lot of blue light in the hours before falling asleep. What is typically recommended is not looking at screens for like 2 hours before falling asleep, which I can understand can be difficult to do, especially if you, I don't know, might still have to work, might be answering people, might be on FaceTime with people. But what is amazing to do, and what I also do, even on days where I need to be in front of the screen for a lot of time, I close my laptop, I leave my phone somewhere, and then I make sure to journal or to read for 30 minutes. So apparently we're in the brain rotting era, and honestly, I like my brain the way it is. I don't want it to rot. One of the things that really help me maintain my concentration levels also throughout the day is to do no distraction work blocks. This basically means leaving your phone somewhere, putting on a timer for like 90 minutes or 60 minutes or whatever you think is doable, and then getting to work. Just working without grabbing your phone, without switching to YouTube and watching random videos, just working for that time frame that you've allocated, and then you take a break. What usually happens is after a time you will get into a flow, which means that your tasks feel easier, you're fully concentrated, and it's a state where your work quality is really gonna be the best. And also bonus points, this helps you unrot your brain, which I feel like sometimes we all need. With that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye! If you want to know the 12 frugal chic habits that have helped me live better but spend smarter, click on this video.